If I see your eyes lose interest or start to glaze over or slightly drop, I know that I'm talking too much. Good morning, Sales Ascender! I hope you're doing well on Wicked Wednesday. I want to jump right into it to our another high ticket tune-up. Hope you guys are doing well. Check this out. Naomi sends a question in today. She says, Sean, I have a nervous habit of talking too much. Hey, join the club. I've been there. Do you have any suggestions on how to not talk so much? Such a great question. I like to keep things simple, right? When the first time I realized this was my very first sales coach. I mean, he told me he listened to one of my calls, and literally all that he did to figure out that I had this habit was he clicked the stopwatch, and he literally just clicked the stopwatch for every time in the call he was listening to when I started yabber, and then literally he would stop it, and then the prospect would talk, and then he'd start it again. And literally what I found when I first started in sales is I was talking about 80% of the time on average, and they were only talking 20. Now, I thought because of my upbringing and everything else that I learned about sales, like that was the right thing. That was the right amount to talk. And it wasn't until he said to me, he's like, yo, man, he said this, and I'll never forget this. He says, 2 ears, one mouth, use them in proportion. I was like, oh, that one is amazing, because obviously we were designed with 2 ears and one mouth, and using them in proportion means we should listen twice as much as we talk. So I was like, okay, instantly it clicked for me, because then I was like 80-20, like I'm talking 80% of the time and I'm supposed to be listening twice as much as I'm talking. Like those numbers don't jibe, right? So that was where I realized that I had this particular habit. Naomi, that you mentioned that you have a nervous habit of talking, and it was simply because I didn't like to hear the sound of quietness. It's got a sound. And so even when I'm speaking with you right now, like, remember this, silence is one of the most loud tools you can use in a sales call, because when you ask a question and then you give that 3 to 5 seconds of silence, literally it screams at the prospect. It's screaming in your ears and you want to fill the space. I totally get it, because I was there. But what I learned is if you can just somehow button the mouth for those 3 to 5 seconds after you ask a question, I will tell you that people will respond. It's pretty powerful. So how do we do this? What are the secrets? What are the tactics? What are the techniques that I use to stop myself from talking too much? Well, there's a couple of them. First one is I do what they call in professional sales, it's called a stop, and then like a stop, start, reverse. And so the stop, start, reverse technique works like this. It's like I'm talking about, and I'm like, let's say I'm in a sales call and I'm talking to you about selling you something, and literally I find myself talking all kinds, right? And I'm just like, the trigger for me is I'm going to watch your eyes. If I see your eyes lose interest or start to glaze over or slightly drop, I know that I'm talking too much. And I look at that as a cue, as an indicator, as a trigger for me to say, oh, I need to do something in my brain. Like I'm watching as I'm talking. And literally when I see that, then I say, oh, I'm so sorry. I've been talking so much, and the reason that I'm talking so much is that I'm so passionate about the thing that I do. Let's just back up a second. Can you tell me a little bit more about this? And you see how I've done that? So now what I did was I caught myself talking because I saw a trigger in the other person. I stopped myself for talking. So stop, start. And I said, I'm sorry, right? Right up with apology. I always catch myself talking a little bit too much. I feel like that just happened. And so now let me just ask you really quick. Let's back up for a second, because I feel like I just totally lost your interest, and I want to get back on topic here. What's your thoughts on this, or what's your favorite part of this, or whatever the question's going to be? And so that's a stop. I stopped myself. I started by saying I'm sorry, and I have this problem of talking too much because I'm so passionate about my thing. And then I reverse, saying, could you tell me more about this? And all of a sudden what's happened is the whole dynamic of energy has shifted, because that prospect's going to be like, whoa, that's pretty cool. No salesperson has ever called themselves out for talking too much to me. Or at least that's the experience that I felt when I was doing this with other people. And they remember you and they think of you differently. And that's what creates the traditional salesperson. It allows you to elevate into like sales professional land, is when you can do this little technique. This is a great one, right? If you talk too much, figure out how you can stay quiet for 3 seconds at a time. Do it in your normal conversation. Just be like, ask a question, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I'm okay to talk, but you can still stay silent, right? And if you can get that rhythm of 3 to 5 seconds, what will happen is your prospects will answer typically almost 90% of the time or 95% of the time. And it will make you not talk as much. And remember, the other thing is this is the 1-to-1 ratio. It's the golden ratio, 1-to-1, right? What does that mean? Well, if I ask you a question, I want an answer. I don't want to ask you 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 or 15 questions and then say, give me all the answers, because not normal people are not able to or normal people are not able to answer 6 or 7 questions when you throw them at them. Think about it. Have you ever been asked, hey, what's the weather like today? What kind of clothing are you going to wear today? What are you eating for breakfast? And what tacos did you eat last night? And if I threw all those questions at you at once, you're probably going to be like, there's too many questions. And then you're only going to answer 1, maybe 2 if we're lucky. And so again, in a sales conversation, it's got to be the same way, right? It's almost as if you're just having a normal conversation with somebody, ask them 1 question, wait for 1 answer. And then remember the triggers, look for a little bit of body language. If you see their eyes drop or glaze over or move left or right, you might be talking too much. If you are, then turn that little mechanism on that says stop, start, reverse. That's the move, and that'll get you right back to where you need to be. I hope this one was helpful for you today, Naomi. Those are some of the suggestions that I had for today's high ticket tune-up. It was a wonderful question. And again, I just want to send a shout out to Chris Baden. A couple of wins. I like to share wins every now and again. First win, he just had his 3rd little baby girl, Dahlia Joyfire. What a great name. And Dahlia Joyfire Baden, and he's doing real well. Just so you know, you guys know, he's back in action. He came back yesterday fully, and he's back at it today, and really excited to have him back in the saddle, and everything's good there. And a personal win for me, I'm not a techie guy by any means, but yesterday, with some assistance from really smart people, I was actually able to figure out how to email you guys. So I'm not sure if you saw an email come out from me last night, but if you did, please open it. Please click the links. Please hit reply, because that always helps with our deliverability. And I'll just ask as a favor. I could tell you there's a lot of really valuable information in there. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sending 1 email a week out to you, just with literally our updates of what's going on in our organization, and in hopes that you can learn kind of the inner workings of what we do and how we do it, and then put it in your business. Because I know when people get the inside look or the inside scoop with somebody with a business that's thriving, usually there's a lot of gold nuggets that you can grab from that. So that's the intent of our email sequencing that we send out to you. It's just going to be once a week. It's a weekly update. I might send 2 this week because I'm excited and over the moon joyful about it. But with that said, just want to give you the heads up. That's what's coming down the pipe for you this week. That's what's coming. That's what's new. But we got a lot of really cool things cooking. Our inner circle right now is crushing it. Just like such great questions, and deals are starting to pop through. Calendars are starting to be completely stuffed in with all of our members, and that's just really awesome. So with that said, I love you, and I hope you had a good Wednesday. And I hope, Naomi, this one helps you a lot. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.